Hello and welcome to this month's Project Home DIY. This month we are creating our nest. This is the completed project. It is a 3-block project and it includes a 4x4 block, the 6x6 block, and a 6x8 block. And it's actually reversible. So for all year round, if you get tired of seeing our nest, you can reverse it to home. Super cool and very unique, and you can redecorate it however you would like. So set it up different ways, whatever you would like to do and however you'd like to style it. You can even change out this egg throughout the year if you would like to change it into something else. So very versatile little piece of home decor. All right, let's get started. So behind me, you're going to see your box that you're going to be getting this month. It includes everything seen here. So this will have everything you need in it to start the project. So I'm going to be working right out of this box and not adding any extra tools to the project. So very first thing you're going to start with is you have your paints right here, all the 3 colors that you need. Feel free always, if you have extra paints and maybe you want this to be navy blue instead, if that goes better with your home decor, feel free to use it, okay? So don't feel like you are restrained to the paints that I provide or the colors. You can use anything you want. Here is the 4-inch wreath. Here are the greenery sprigs. You have your starter kit, which includes your paintbrush, your hot glue gun, and your sanding block. These things are squishy soft, so they sand the edges of corners nicely. That's a good reminder time. Open your glue gun and make sure you have it plugged in and hot when you're ready to use it. Mine actually is already plugged in, ready to go. And then you have, sanding block, I already said that. The 6x6 and the 6x8 block. So we will start with those. And then to make your life even easier, I'm going to teach you how to use the vinyl to put on these logos instead of having to hand paint and hand stencil them. If you would like to hand stencil, of course you can do that too. You can also add little flowers if you feel so inclined to. But I will provide you with the vinyl to do that. So you will have both of those. So that is the contents of our box. Oh wait, sorry, we have 2 ribbon strips because we're going to build our own little ribbon. So that is everything we'll need. First thing, so your blocks have time to dry, you're going to paint your blocks ivory. So take your paintbrush, and this pot is the ivory paint, and there's enough to do all the blocks in there. Since this block is showing the inside only, and it's the one that your egg goes in, this little guy, then you're going to want to paint the inside first. I'm going to put this back up here so you can kind of see it as we go and reference it. I'll probably grab it a couple times too. That's my favorite way to display them. Kind of give it some height, some depth. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to work on painting just the inside of this block. So when I paint, you'll definitely paint the outside. And you'll notice that I'm not wearing paint clothes. And I rarely ever do wear paint clothes because I'm just too lazy to always change because I paint almost every single day. But this is the trick I've learned. So this is trick number 1. I'm going to teach you a bunch of tricks that I've learned over the years of painting, because like I said, we've been creating home decor for over 7 years now for people, so we've learned a lot of tricks. But do you see how I'm painting away from myself like this? So my paintbrush isn't flicking any paint at me, so that is a key to not having to change your clothes every time you want to do a project. Just paint away from yourself. So that's why I do that. I paint away from myself. But I'm going to get in all these little nooks and all these little crannies right in here. And kind of not slop the paint on, but don't worry about just worry about getting it covered, and then we'll go over and smooth it all out. And it's kind of tricky because you have edges that if you pull your paintbrush against them, you're going to get a bead of paint. So just kind of watch that paint. If it balls up, just make sure you dab it with the paintbrush and not let it dry like that. If it dries like that, it's not a big deal either, but it will just take longer to dry. My other trick is always use, if you have a little like space heater, a little room heater, set your blocks up in that and they'll dry much, much quicker. So now I'm kind of stuck at this point because I have edges painted, but just grab these two, and if you use the table you're setting it on, you can continue painting all your sides. And then once you set it down to dry, you can touch up the edges where you touched. But a lot of times when you put your hand, or when I'm painting stuff that has a cut wood grain end, I'll grab that wood grain end, because usually when you touch it, it won't pull the paint out of that grain. So another tip. All right, so I got all my paint sides painted. Now I'm just smoothing them out and making sure it's nice and smooth, and then smooth on the inside. Now you're going to want to make sure that you don't put too much paint on these, because part of the best thing that comes at when these are dry is the sanding with the sanding block. You're going to make your job much easier sanding these when the paint layer is a little bit thinner. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. So this one's actually dry. I'm just going to set it behind me, and I'm going to set it up at an angle how I kind of want it to dry. So that edge is wet. It's not going to get stuck to the edge, and all four sides, or all however many sides on that thing is going to dry. So, and I might just touch up where I was holding it, but you really can't even tell. And to be honest, when you sand it up, you won't even be able to tell those spots. So that's what you're going to do with all three blocks. I would go ahead and pause this video, paint your blocks, get them set up and drying, and then resume it. I'll see you in a minute. All right, now that we have our dry blocks, it's like a cooking show. I had everything all done and ready. Look at that. Okay, so dry blocks. Here's the 4x4 and the 6x6 and the 6x8. So I did paint the insides and outsides of all the blocks. You don't have to do that on yours. You can if you would want. Totally up to you. So this one, we're just going to take each of them, and you'll notice on your sanding block that there's a rougher side and a smoother side. Use any side that you prefer. Obviously the rougher side is going to give you a little bit more grit and take a little bit more off, but you're not going to ruin anything at all. So don't worry about doing that. But you're going to sand all four edges, just like this. I like to go in a circular motion when I'm sanding, because then it kind of gets rid of those paintbrush marks. It rubs in all directions. Don't do that on things that are stained, because you definitely don't want to go against the grain when you have stained paint. But since we don't see the grain on this, it doesn't matter. And also we're not using the back of the block, so that doesn't matter. So we'll flip it around and focus on this side. So the more you sand those edges, the more the natural wood color is going to come through. So just sand to your liking, each one of them. I'm just very quickly going to sand these. And this is the important one. This one needs to really be sanded and really be nice and smooth, because this is the one you're going to be painting on. So make sure that when you sand this, you're doing a good job on the outside and the inside of the block. Remember, we're going to put home on the inside and our nest on the outside, or vice versa, however you want to do it. Okay, so our blocks are sanded. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the 6x8 block, and we'll start with putting on the vinyl pieces so we can let this paint dry. So these are vinyl transfer pieces that have been cut out and made for you. You're going to want to take the sticky part, or the paper backing off the back. This is sticky. keep this, what's called transfer tape, over the top. Keep that on there. Make sure your block is nice and clean of any debris from sanding, and then you'll just have to eyeball it. Now this is something you have to trust yourself with. This is something I've learned to be very good at over the years with being straight. But if I can show you a trick, I will show you up very close. Do you see how the word hour, I can kind of see right through the top here, and I can see that it's straight there. So now when I go to do this, I can see right through those letters, and I know it's straight, so then I just pull it down. So I knew it was straight there, and I pulled it down evenly, okay? And I can look here, and sometimes I use my fingers too, so underneath the words, just like that. It feels like the same distance, okay? And then you're going to want to check this distance and this distance from there, and you'll have it centered, okay? So that looks pretty darn good. Press it down as hard as you can. If you want, you can use the edge of the 4x4 block, just real gently. If you tear that transfer tape, it's not the end of the world. And then ever so lightly pick up just this corner of the transfer tape, okay? Pull at an angle. And that way you don't catch a straight edge of the letter, and then it's less chance of pulling that letter off. But if that happens, just go back over, rub it a little bit like that, and then keep pulling. So there's that. Our nest, I know it's backwards in the video, sorry. Okay, and for our nest, I have the gray. So we're gonna use the gray side. Oh, I should have done home first so it could dry while I'm doing that. Oops. Oh well. Okay, now I'm gonna let that sit and dry. So I just covered it completely with the paint. Make sure you don't go out of the edges. If you do, just grab a wet rag. And if you don't notice until the end when you pull it off, just take your sanding block and sand off that extra paint, or take your ivory and repaint it. So I'm gonna let that dry. You put it in the heater. And we'll make our ribbon. So for the ribbon, let's see. Now, you're going to want your hot glue gun. Get that handy little dude in there. It makes me crazy because the glue sticks always fall out the back if they're not engaged. But we're going to take the ribbon. So this is the longer piece of ribbon. Go ahead and take that piece, and you're going to fold both ends into the inside, and you're just going to make a loop like that. Okay? And then we're going to glue so it's like this. Okay? So I'm going to put a piece of, or some glue there in each layer and glue it together. I have a tendency, this is another trick of mine. When I'm using hot glue, anytime I put my fingers on it, you notice it sticks to you and it burns and it hurts, right? Okay, well, you just saw my trick. I licked my fingers first. I know. It works well, I'm telling you. So lick your fingers and then touch the hot glue and it won't burn, I promise. Okay, so this is the smaller strip. It's gonna go through the center right there. So I put a piece of some glue down, put some glue on the back, fold that piece over, and then I'm just gonna wrap that until I run out. And if it doesn't end up where you want it to, and it ends up on the front or wherever, then use your scissors that you're gonna have in a more handy spot than mine are. I have them. You took them. Hid my scissors. Told you this is a family thing. Matt's been standing there this whole time and he's taking pictures because those instructions you received in your box, those are the pictures he's taking at the same time. Kind of cool, huh? All right, so there is our finished ribbon for the block. And we'll go ahead and do that guy right now. So we're making this one while our nest guy dries. Okay, so you'll take your wreath, that guy. Some of them need a little squishing and need a little working to go get in there, but that's good because that means it's gonna stay in place, and I think that's awesome. So, got it in there. There's my wreath, and this one actually doesn't come out and it actually stays. So if yours does come out, put your wreath in and then look around in the inside of there and see where the wreath is touching, and then glue right where it's touching, okay? You don't want to just put glue in there because the wreath isn't touching down on all areas in there. There's a spot where it is touching, so go ahead and touch up those spots with your glue gun. So the wreath is in. We're going to take our sprigs. Now this is a little tricky. Take your sprigs, these little guys, and peel the last 2 leaves off so you have a nice end piece there. Okay, and then this is essentially what we're going to put right on the wreath. If you choose to do these differently, you can put them anywhere you would like, but I'm going to put them right across the top. So it'll go just like that. So I'm going to hold them there like that, and then I'm going to take my glue gun, I'm going to put a pile of glue over the top, and then I'm going to do my trick where I said I spit on my fingers. Actually, I just lick my finger, and then I hold it down, because then it dries quicker actually too. It actually works. So once that's done, and then look, I have no glue on my fingers and you don't have all those strings either. Best trick ever. Let me hold that there for a little bit. If you can hear my kids, obviously they're having fun upstairs. Sounds like the ceiling's falling in, but I promise you it's not. It's okay. It's life. They're fine. Okay, I'm gonna cut one more leaf off the bottom. Ouch, see, I didn't lick my fingers and there I burnt myself. Because it's not laying flat. So now it's laying flat. Now it's allowing the glue to stick down. Okay, so if those leaves are pushing your sprigs up off the wreath, then just cut another leaf off so it'll lay much flatter. So that's what that looks like. Okay, we're gonna take our ribbon and put some glue on the back and glue to that. And just hold it. That's it. So that one's pretty easy. You can kind of mess with this however you want it to be, but the ribbon kind of gets pushed up by the leaves, so you can readjust the leaves or readjust the ribbon however you would like to do it. Okay, so I don't mind if it's folded a little bit. I think it still looks good. You can flatten it if you'd like, whatever you would like to do. So there's that block. It's all completed. Put a little more glue on it. And hot glue, I tell you what, it's like wondrous material. So there's our completed 6x6. We did it. Ta-da! Okay, let's look at this guy. Our nest part should be nice and dry. Okay, so and make sure it is dry. Don't peel these up when they're wet, except for I will give you a tip when we're working with the gold. That might be a little bit different. So now we're going to take off the sticker part. So peel that black off. It should not peel any of your ivory off, but I can tell you this, wood is a natural product. Wood comes from trees. Trees have sap. And if there is by any chance, and it happened on mine, so a part of the wood where there is a little moisture still in it, it could possibly peel up that ivory just a tiny bit. But thankfully you have ivory paint and we can touch that spot in and you'll never even notice it. Okay, so that's that. And then go ahead and peel out the O, the inside of the O. You also have to pick with your finger. If you have, I don't know, like a toothpick or something you could use, but you don't have to. So go ahead and peel those out. Touched up the end and it's just perfect. So there's that end. Make sure it is dry and we'll go ahead and do the home part. Now, since this is a cursive letter, it's not as important to be straight because it's harder to tell because the letters are all, there's no exact line. So you're not going to be able to tell that very much. But stick it in there and don't stick it all the way, but just look at it, see how it looks. I say that looks pretty good. So I'm going to just stick it down. Okay, and again, I'm going to peel the transfer tape off. That's that inside, the white piece. And I'm going to peel it at an angle so it doesn't peel off my letters. And if the E, the inside of the E comes out, then just re-stick that transfer tape back down. Since I did sand on this table, there might be some grit, so you might want to put your block down on, say, the backing of the sticker so it won't scratch it up. So just make sure the home is down and all the edges are down. If you have an edge that's lifted up a little bit, paint will get down in there and leak, so you don't want that. Okay, paintbrush, and we're gonna do the gold. Okay, and the gold is a little bit different paint. It's an acrylic. The gold, or the other paint that you're using is, you little turkeys, is a latex paint. So, latex is and I use flat based latex. So it's a little chalkier, chalk paint, kind of-ish. But it peels a little bit better off and cleaner. Latex or acrylic paint, which is what this gold stuff is, may not peel as well. So if you feel like you can do it, go ahead and peel off the home as it is right now wet. Okay, you can go ahead and do that. Don't worry about the inside pieces, let those dry, but the main piece is off. And remember, this is wet, so don't touch it. So just set that to the side and you're done with it. We'll let that guy dry, okay? So we're done with our second. And last is this little guy right here. So our 4x4 block. And remember, I said you can change this out throughout the year. How fun would it be just to switch whatever's inside there? You guys can do so many fun things with just that little guy. All right, where is my, I'm missing an egg. Will you grab one in that box? All right, so these are the sprigs that are who talks like that? Going to go in the inside of the block. So yes, they are bigger than they should be. So cut them down. I would cut one leaf off. And one leaf there, just the blue. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I cut one leaf off and I'm going to glue these two together, and I'm going to take the two leaves and glue them together just like that, okay? So the stems are facing one another and I'm gluing these pieces I'm holding right here. Okay. Then I'm going to take that leaf that I just glued the two pieces together, put some glue on the inside of it, and I'm going to smash that down on the back side of the block. So he's kind of in there, squished nicely. I might have to, if there's a leaf right in the center, just cut him out because your egg will need some room. Your egg needs room to breathe. I think my hot glue is too hot and it's like melting this plastic. I can't believe it. But my hot glue gun stays on for 24/7. So my glue is like super extremely hot. All right, take your styrofoam egg and you'll just put some on him. And I'm actually not putting more on right now. My finger's not on the trigger. I'm just swirling it around so it kind of cools it a little bit before I put it down. So it's not so hot. All right, and I'm gonna put him down right in the center at an angle. I'd move my finger, but I wanna make sure I'm gluing him right. So there he is. And if you're so inclined to, you can paint your egg gold. You can take your gold paintbrush and flick it like this and put some more speckles on your egg. You can do, you can paint it a different color fully. You can paint it more robin's egg blue. You can do whatever you would like with your egg. So there's the finished egg. And we'll check this guy. It's not quite dry yet, but all we'd have to do left on that is peel out the inside pieces. And you have finished your very first project home DIY. And there it is. So, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope next month you can join us again and we'll do another fun project. If you have any questions or need any help with this, go ahead and post it on our Facebook group. Make sure to post your finished products. I'd love to see them in your home, and I'd love to see how you put your special little custom touches on them. I can't wait to work with you again. See you next time.